Look, on a night like tonight with SmackDown, February 28th, 2020, I'm just left with a sense of, here we go again. And that's surrounding Roman Reigns versus Goldberg for the Universal Championship at WrestleMania. That's now been made official because of that opening segment, which, okay, fair enough. It was obviously what they were going to do coming out of Super Showdown, but the way they just announced it, Goldberg comes out to a mixed, mostly negative reaction, says, let's forget about who's last. So in other words, the Fiend's just gone now. Just forget about him. No rematch for you. Who's next? Reigns comes out. They do a 2-minute stare down, and that was it. So, yeah, we now know what the WrestleMania Universal Championship match is. The Cena stuff, that too was just, going into this show, that was what I was most looking forward to, seeing what John Cena has to say and what he's doing, because Cena, as I've said in videos past, he's such a polarizing figure, or polarizing, and now that he's gone and he's coming back, I'm actually interested to see what he has to do. So, yeah, the Cena stuff tonight, it was fine. It was pretty kind of obvious what they were going to go for, so I'll talk about that later. And then the rest of the show was just, what even happened in this show? I watched the whole thing, and it's just a bunch of just stuff. Like Daniel Bryan versus Curtis Axel. The Miz and Morrison versus the Usos for no reason. That's a SmackDown tag title match that you could easily put at WrestleMania, and that's just happening for no reason. Furthermore, Rude versus Kofi Kingston just happened tonight. We got Lacey Evans and Naomi versus Sasha Banks and Bayley. An Intercontinental Championship contract signing, which is just furthering the burial of Zayn, Cesaro, and Nakamura. All this stuff tonight just left me thinking, I don't care. And it's because also, as I mentioned in the Raw review from this past Monday, it's how this WrestleMania build's structured. Having Super Showdown or Saudi Blood Money Oil Showdown on Thursday afternoon, and then Friday night there's a SmackDown show, and then there's a Raw, another SmackDown, and then Elimination Chamber the very next week. That format does not work. It really doesn't, okay? Doing two pay-per-views, special events within 10 days, that doesn't work on the road to WrestleMania. So they're trying to get through Elimination Chamber, and they've just thrown matches together for that. Like the SmackDown Tag Title Chamber match, who honestly cares about that? They've just gotten every team on SmackDown, thrown them into the chamber. Is there any hype or buzz for that? Lucha House Party, you're in that match. When was the last time Lucha House Party were on TV? It's just stuff like that. And the stuff with Cena as well, okay, cool. Having Cena involved with the Universal Championship would have been, probably, it would have been a better way to go. Because Goldberg and Reigns, that does not need the Universal Championship. So, that being said, I'll move into the show. Pretty much, SmackDown for February 28th, 2020. So we open the show, new Universal Champion Goldberg making his entrance. It's very indifferent, fair bunch of boos in there. You can tell he's not overly popular, and justifiably so. So, old man Bill comes out with the Universal Championship. From here, Roman Reigns, his music hits, following Goldberg's one-liner of, let's move on from who's last. So in other words, forget the Fiend, he's worthless garbage. We're moving on to who's next. So who's next? So then Roman Reigns' music hits. So we get Roman Reigns coming down, and he just slowly walks down, embraces the crowd, and then does a face-off with Goldberg that you see on screen. So we get that to open the show, which right away, I know what a bunch of the crowd's going to say about that. This is the ideal main event. It's a big draw. And then some of my fans be like, isn't this what you wanted? You want bigger guys. You want indie midgets. And to that I say, okay, Roman Reigns versus Goldberg, I'm totally cool with being a WrestleMania match. But it doesn't need the Universal Championship now, does it? Okay, Roman Reigns and Goldberg is a cool fantasy match. Spear versus spear. It justifies WrestleMania. But does that match need the Universal Championship more than Cena against Bray Wyatt? No, it doesn't. Okay, that's where my gripe comes from. Okay, I don't hate Goldberg. Matter of fact, I like Goldberg for the most part. After last night, or a couple of days ago at Super Showdown, not so much. But it's just this situation doesn't work. It's creative, just killing off the Fiend, all to make the Universal Championship, the centerpiece of Goldberg Reigns, a match that doesn't need it. So that was all we got there to open the show. That took like 6 minutes. That was pretty quick. From here, we go to a commercial break. After that, we have Bayley in the ring with Naomi. So, like, they're going to do a rematch between Bayley and Naomi for no reason. I'm, like, confused. From here, Bayley says, whoa, 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 grabs a mic. She says, there's a boss, a musical producer, whatever, an artist. So then Sasha Banks' music hits, which I actually listened to her theme song tonight. It's such a bad song. Like her Sky's the Limit song is like really good, and then they've messed it all up. It sounds horrible now. So Sasha Banks comes out to ringside. This is very predictable. You pretty much knew where this was going as soon as Sasha came out. Sasha made the inevitable attack on Naomi. She's beating her down. Then Mother of the Year Lacey Evans comes down. So we get Sasha and Bayley against Lacey and Naomi in a tag match. This went for like 10 minutes. So, I mean, whatever. Naomi pins Bayley. Great. I don't really care. I really don't. So, that was what we got there. That was the first half an hour of SmackDown. Alright, not amazing, just So from here, we get Kofi Kingston versus Robert Roode. For no reason. There's no explanation about this at all. They could have used this spot for a number one contenders match or a qualification match for the Elimination Chamber, like tag title thing, but no. Instead, Kofi Kingston versus Robert Roode. And the thing with this was, before the commercial break, Big E was standing at ringside, and Robert Roode, slaps the steel steps and acts like he's been hit in the head. So the referee ejects Big E, and that was supposed to suffice as an intense story that we should all care about. So after a commercial break, we get Robert Roode rolling up Kofi following 7 minutes of wrestling. So Robert Roode wins the match. Okay, I really couldn't care less. From here, Mandy Rose is shown backstage with Sonya Deville, and then Sonya tells Mandy that Ziggler's your man. So, okay, and then from here, Otis is shown looking dejected in the locker room as Tucker's like, maybe this isn't meant to be. So Otis is looking all depressed. So Otis is the most over part of SmackDown. He's the most engaging part of SmackDown outside of Cena and The Fiend. So Otis is great. From here, that was the first hour. Okay, the face-off, Bayley Naomi, Roode versus Kingston, and then they did 5 to 8 minutes of filler before the top of the hour, and that was the first hour. So a real just nothing first hour on a SmackDown that's supposed to be so important and pivotal to what they're doing going to WrestleMania 36. Okay, disappointing. So we're told that Beth Phoenix will be on Raw on Monday. Randy should RKO Beth Phoenix. That'll be cool, and then Edge can come back the next week and be all pissed. That's what they should do. From here, we get the Intercontinental Championship contract signing. So, Braun Strowman against Shinsuke Nakamura. That's what it's supposed to be. And right away, because Renee Young's hosting this, all I have to say is, everything Renee Young's involved in is great. Literally, she's so good at her job. Renee Young deserves so much more credit than she gets. The Miz sit-down interview from when Miz was feuding with The Fiend. The stuff with Lacey Evans and Renee Young, that was also really good last week. So, there was that. Anyway, Braun Strowman came out here. He looked ridiculous. That look he's going for, like the kind of tank top he's wearing, but not really that. It's also the hair. What is that? So from here, we get Zayn just cutting one of his funny little heel promos. Then Strowman does this good little vent, this passionate, angry vent at Sami Zayn. So, and that was good. From here, Strowman then, he says that he could, he knows he has to fight all 3 of them at once, so he might as well just get it over with. So Zayn manipulates that into the Intercontinental title being a 3-on-1 match. So 3-on-1, Strowman versus Cesaro, Zayn, and Nakamura for the IC title. Way to bury those 3 guys. Okay, you all know Strowman's not losing to 3 men in an IC title handicap match. It's just going to be Strowman power slamming them all and making them all look like clowns. Okay, we get it. Nakamura, Cesaro, Zayn, you don't like them. You think they're all untalented for whatever reason. They're all missing something. So proceed to have Braun Strowman just bury them all at the Elimination Chamber. So that was what that was. And then they went for a beatdown, and the heels actually beat down Strowman. Cesaro and Nakamura picked up Strowman, and Zayn kicked Zayn kicked Strowman. So Strowman crashed to a table. So this heel faction with Zayn, Cesaro, and Nakamura, who haven't won a match in so long. Those guys take out Strowman. So that's what we got there. From here, we're told that Goldberg vs. Reigns at Mania is now official. I'm thinking, okay, sure, brilliant. So, at least you don't have to see a number one contenders chamber match for no reason, but still. from here we get Daniel Bryan versus Curtis Axel. Curtis Axel just looks out of shape. He clearly doesn't use the gym anymore. Like, he used to look alright. Now he's just flabby and out of shape. From here, Michael Cole calls Drew Gulak, Drew Axel. Just a mess. Basically, it just buries Gulak further. For here, I'm just watching this thinking, Bryan's fighting losers and his career's going nowhere right now. They've nothing for Bryan, so it's kind of sad to see that. Anyway, Bryan wins, who cares? From here, Michael Cole shouts that Cena's the greatest of all time, something that we've heard for like a decade, whatever. And then we see Miz and Morrison doing a photo shoot backstage of their new tag titles, and they're saying, like, doing their Miz and Morrison hey hey ho ho chant, which is just utterly awful. So from here we get Miz and Morrison coming out to do their, like, coronation promo. The Miz looks like an androgynous Jedi. If you understand that, then good. I mean, that's what he looks like, realistically. So from here, they somehow get the geeks in attendance to chant Miz and Morrison, hey hey ho ho. Because somehow that quantifies as, a funny or cool chant. Whoever thought of that backstage needs to be sacked. So from here, Greg Hamilton just grabs the mic and says that at the Elimination Chamber, it will be Miz and Morrison defending their titles in the Elimination Chamber against the Usos, Heavy Machinery, Rude and Ziggler, The New Day, and Lucha House Party. So they just announced that. No qualification matches, no build. It's just all the tag teams are fighting in the chamber. Whatever. From here we get the Usos versus Miz and Morrison. I'm thinking to myself, stuff like this is why the road to WrestleMania is not special. This should feel cool, but it doesn't. So the Usos beat the new tag team champions, and that was that. So we went to a commercial, we came back, and John Cena cut his promo. This, by far, the most invested I was during this whole show. Cena comes out to a great reaction in Boston. He starts the promo by doing the whole, the universe is the biggest fan or the biggest person in creative. He's just praising the fans. That's basically what he's doing. Is your typical kind of your Cena pandering promo. We all know what that kind of is. It's basically just Cena talking about how the crowd empowers him and, they are why he does this, and he always loves listening to the audience, and no matter what they feel like, everyone listens, and it's like, yeah, sure they do. Anyway, Cena's cutting this promo, and then he says that at WrestleMania, what are his plans? And then he goes he fakes choking up, he fakes almost crying, so to speak, and then Cena's like, at WrestleMania, I step aside to let younger superstars excel. And the whole crowd's like, boo, we want Cena. Because someone like Cena, him actually coming back for moments like this is cool. So, by this point, I'm half thinking, if they do this, this would be so dumb. But at the same time, Cena versus The Fiend, or Cena Bray Wyatt, if that doesn't happen, who's Bray Wyatt fighting? So, to have Cena leave the ring, he puts his, not puts his hat down, but he puts the mic down, leaves, waves goodbye to people. They're acting as if this is Cena's retirement. I'm like, oh, please, save it. And then Cena walks up the ramp. He's standing, on the stage. The Fiend effects come out. The lights go out. Lights come back on. They're showing Cena. He's all, looking around. Behind him is The Fiend. So, The Fiend is standing, 2 meters away from Cena. This was cool. I like this. The Fiend then, after he stares at Cena for a bit, Fiend points at the sign. Cena nods his head. So, Cena Fiend's official. I like this segment. It was entertaining. But at the same time, we already knew the transition to be happening. And after seeing what happened to Bray Wyatt last night in Super Showdown, now I don't care for the match as much because The Fiend got beaten in less than 3 minutes by a 53-year-old man. It's just that booking decision's killed my interest in both of these SmackDown main events. So, anyway, The Fiend Cena is going to happen at Mania, as we expected. I wanted that to include the title, and you could have Cena's Road to 17. Didn't come to be, but anyway, that was SmackDown for February 28th, 2020. Pretty predictable, pretty I mean, this is supposed to be the best time of the year to watch this product. And the shows we're getting aren't even good now. So God forbid how bad these shows will be after WrestleMania time. They're going to be just nauseating. So tonight's show, I'm going to give this... I'm going to give this show... I don't even know. I'm going to just give this a D. I like the fact that Cena was on. The Cena Fiend main event segment I liked. Goldberg Reigns was... it was fine. After what happened with Goldberg and Fiend, I don't really care. Fiend Cena, I'm trying to invest myself in. I like Cena and Fiend, so I'll probably get into that. The rest of the stuff is just whatever. Otis is cool, but I don't really care about anything else. So that's the video. Hopefully you enjoyed. Be sure to like, comment, sub. You guys know the drill. See ya.